Hello, the internet. Welcome to today's Hangout on Air, all about call-only ads, driving calls and AdWords. We'll also talk about a bit about call extensions, but the focus is going to be on call-only ads. My name is Sean Quadlin. I'm a product marketing manager for SEM Best Practices, and I'm thrilled to be joined today by Chris Vennard. Chris, tell us a bit about yourself.
So hi, everybody. I'm a global product expert. I'm working on our calls business, and have been doing it for quite a while, and I'm excited to talk about call-only today.
And we are lucky, genuinely lucky to have Chris here today. He was very close to being on a huge trial in New York City, but thankfully he got up jury duty, so we get him today. So start your day off with, the small blessings in the world. Chris can join us on this Hangout on Air. But I'll hand it over to you, Chris.
Okay, great. So, so let's talk about calls a bit, just to set the stage. I think some of you guys are understanding of what's going on. But what we're seeing is that we're seeing a lot of people making phone calls, and you may think that phone calls are not there, but there's a resurgence. Like, people are making calls, they're making calls from search results, and we're seeing just great growth. Some of the numbers is that 70% of people, we actually did a study, 70% of people have actually made phone calls from search, and that may surprise some people, but we see it as very promising. The other thing that we see is that we see a steep growth curve with respect to calls coming from search. So we saw about 38 billion last year in calls. We're going to see that almost double in a few years. So we do see this, and we are seeing some really interesting results and some great results because of it.
It's a lot of phone calls, Chris.
A lot of phone calls. We're logging those minutes. And so why do people make phone calls rather than go through the website? There's a couple of reasons here. Mainly it's because of the situation and what you're doing, right? If you're out and about and you want to do something, it's very easy to just pick up the phone call and make it. The other thing is that it's because of what you're buying. So we see a lot of sort of high ticket or items that you need a bit of information. So when you need a lot of information, then rather than typing it on your mobile device, it's easier just to pick up the phone call and go ahead and talk to the person on the other end of the line. And then, people have preference. Like, people like to talk to people. I like talking to you, you like talking to me. Like, people like to talk to people, and when people do that over the phone, it really helps for a better conversation, and it helps the individual, and they have a good experience. So in order to capture these things, we have two products that we have in the market for calls, and one is call extensions and one is call-only ads. We're going to focus on call-only ads today, but we want to talk about call extensions a little bit, just so people understand that we do have two distinct products. So call extensions, when you want to decide what you want to do and what product you want to have, call extensions is one of those ones where if you do have a mobile site that is capable, transaction capable for users, like if you have users that want to do what they want to on their mobile site, then do a call extension. And that gives you people the ability to click through to the website. It also gives people to make a phone call. So you're sort of allowing users to do whatever they want and choose the option of that. Call-only ads are for people that either do not have a mobile site, or that mobile site does not do what you want it to for users. And so directing people to make phone calls only then allows that conversation, and it allows people to transact with your business the way that you want to. Now, specific to call-only ads. So call-only ads, we launched this in February. And we designed it specifically to be simple, easy to manage, and easy to budget. So it's its own campaign type. The ads are very simple. They're very specific to making a phone call, obviously. And one of the benefits that I like the best is that it is only a mobile format. So it's only a format that is goes on devices that can make phone calls. So you don't have to worry about mobile bid modifiers. You don't have to worry about changing things like that. So you bid whatever you think of this value of the call. If you value the call a certain dollar amount, great, put it there, bid it the way you want to. You don't have to worry about bidding at one level, modifying it, and bringing it back down. And the other really good thing is that the reporting, so you have your own campaign type, its own separate campaign type. We did have a call-only product, a legacy call-only product, and it was a little difficult to understand what's going on reporting-wise. So now that you have your own campaign type, you can see all the stats, you can manage it easier, you control it easier, and it's very easy to do from there. So that's why we designed the product, and that's why we brought it out to the market.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I used to manage stuff like that myself back when I was at an agency in my pre-Google days. And the ease of management is totally true. So I really like the new campaign for that simple aspect.
Good. Overall, so what do we see overall with calls? This is not specific to call only, but overall, when users are making calls and when advertisers take calls, we see much higher conversion rates. Some advertisers report 2x, some advertisers report 3x. There's a lot of different factors that go into play here, depending upon your phone sales team. Since a lot of things there, but you do have higher conversion rates, and we also see order value much higher. So With respect to a call format, if you're putting that out there, you will see better results, and you will see a lot more interesting things going on with calls. And that's why we think that there's a lot of value there specific for the mobile users.
And just to speak to this on my own personal experience, I'm a fan of food, as probably most people are. You know, we kind of need food. But sometimes when I click on an ad, it has a poor mobile experience, and so I'll actually call the business, and they upsell me a lot easier on the phone because I'm talking to another person, right, instead of upselling me on the website. I'm used to like Xing out of pop-ups and things, right, like that. So it's just whatever your business type is, you have those opportunities. You're selling me breadsticks, but you're going to sell somebody else something that's more valuable.
Right, exactly.
Just making it personal, man.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, you know, expect these results. It's great. Obviously it's going to differ depending upon the products and depending on what you're doing, depending on what your team is doing on the other end. But you know, we do see a lot of this really great momentum with calls.
Excellent. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about best practices for managing calls, either call only or call extensions. And we also want to save a lot of time for questions at the end. So take this time now to ask any questions you have about management. Chris really is an expert here, so take advantage of him. While I'm talking about best practices, this is a great opportunity to talk about it. So when it comes to setting up your call ads just to be successful, one of the things that Chris was talking about is that you can have, for call only ads, that ad text is all about driving a call. You may be used to writing ad text that's about driving site visits, about doing something on your site, but your ad text for call-only ads should showcase your company's value and actually get someone to pick up the phone. That really should be what the thrust of your ads are all about. And then ad scheduling is something that you might not think about, and it's also going to vary just on what your business is and how often you're open, what your hours of business are. You don't want you don't want to drive phone calls and pay for those phone calls when you don't have someone there to answer. It's kind of something that might be obvious to some, but we've heard people that don't think of it. Yeah. So that's just a great way to be efficient when you're using call-only ads. And then just another thing, offline, you can actually use the data that you're driving within AdWords to decide how to staff your call centers. If maybe you need to run hours more frequently if you see traffic and hours you're not normally open, you might want to have somebody answer the phone. So just think about that. That's kind of something that you can change your overall business strategy, just to have more call-friendly hours. All right, so once you have the ad set up that you're happy with, you keep trying to improve those, but you should also be measuring the calls that you receive. So a really simple step to take here is just to use Google forwarding numbers, because that allows you to track the call details. And if you track call details, then you can actually track calls as conversions, which is hugely important. Yes. You know, search marketers, we're all about conversions. We live, breathe conversions. They're like breadsticks to me for a search marketer. So conversions and breadsticks are always great. But track your calls as conversions. Set up a link that actually makes sense for you. You know what a valuable phone call is. If you don't, you can easily find that out. Talk to people who answer the phone call. See how long it normally takes for you to actually have a valuable phone call with someone, and then establish that as a conversion. Then you can tailor your messaging and bidding based off of that. It's just going to tell you that much more. It's just going to be a lot more information for you to use when it comes time to actually decide your strategy moving forward. And then this is something that's probably more specific to call extensions if you're driving website traffic alongside calls. But there's something called website call conversions, which can be hugely valuable. If people are on your site, they're browsing for a while, and then decide to make a call, then you're actually going to be able to attribute that back to the click, back to the keywords that are driving this type of thing. Can we do a keyword level, or is it ad group level? Keyword level, beautiful. I'm glad Chris is here, you guys. That's another important step. Even if you are doing call only, you can optimize your desktop site to drive phone calls as well. Make that phone number prominent, make it easy. Every page on your site, so someone, if they have a question, want to talk to a person, make it that much easier for them.
Yeah, I like website call conversions. I really like a lot, because if, particularly for a large item or an item that you're gathering a lot of information, like I talked about before, if people are going to that website and they get a little overwhelmed, it's like it's like an escape hatch. You have that phone call right there. You have that phone number there. You can click it and you can call, and then it still gets attributed back to that original ad, which is really important for us.
Yeah, totally great. I think escape hatch is a great way to work. And then it's also just exciting. Like, oh, escape hatch in my business. It's a way to really up-level the anticipation and tension that's going on. And then the final section of best practices we want to talk about is just improving the performance of your call ads, whether they're extensions or call only. One thing here is just kind of smart reporting to understand what types of conversions your campaigns and keywords are driving. You might find that only a certain subset of your entire account is driving calls, which actually makes it easier for you to manage those. But you're not going to know that until you actually start reporting and just segmenting out the types of conversions you're driving, so you can understand which campaigns are more call heavy. And if you're just experimenting with call only ads, that can be a great place to start. You know that it's driven calls in the past through call extensions, and then you can just have call only ads to kind of complement that. So just that sense of awareness about what types of conversions you drive. And then Chris was already talking about bidding, but with call-only ads, what's really great is that you know how valuable a call is, and you can bid for that specifically and that alone. So that's a really important thing. So just think about what the value is, measure that value, and then actually just bid to drive up as many as possible. And then we talked about websites and receiving calls. So we talked about this just a bit ago, but website call conversions, again, just connect your site, make it so the site is user-friendly enough to actually drive the calls that are so valuable to you. It's, again, not really specific to call-only ads or call extensions, but you can track it in AdWords, and that becomes super valuable for you. So just optimize your website. That's a great way to drive extra value for, you know, the escape hatch, people who need the escape hatch when they're actually browsing your site. And so from there, I see that we do have some questions coming in. So we're going to go right into Q&A, Chris.
That sounds great. Very
exciting. You're not at jury duty. You're now here answering questions for our users. Hopefully we can get a lot out of it. And so let's start with the first one from Nicole Ellis. I'll read it aloud, just so I feel like I have something to do, and then you can answer. I'll chip it if I have anything. So making bulk changes to hundreds of ads within AdWords is just too time consuming. I'd like to know when we'll be able to edit call-only ads within the AdWords editor.
So we're working on this now. We should have something soon. I don't have any specific date, but you know, this will be coming soon. We understand the need. We understand that it's something that people are going to want. So you know, soon.
Yeah, and we definitely listen to all this feedback. So keep it coming. If you have something you want in the editor, that team really listens when people are talking about it, and they're trying to do everything they can. So our apologies that it hasn't happened yet, but it is in the works, and it's coming down the pipeline. The next one is from Gary Wheeler. If you use the same keywords for call-only campaigns and other campaigns you are running, do they conflict with each other?
Yeah, great question, Gary. So yes, I mean, they will conflict, right? Particularly on mobile. So remember, call-only campaigns are designed only for devices that make phone calls. Right now, that's phones. And so if those keywords are able to serve on both those places on phones, then yes, they will conflict, and we'll choose the one with the better quality score and the better things. If that same keyword is eligible to show on desktop, the call-only campaign and the call-only keyword and the call-over version of that will not conflict against it on desktop, because it doesn't serve there. So the answer is yes and no, but specific for mobile, it does.
Yeah, and I think what's fine here is that the system is used to dealing with conflicts. Yes. Like, this happens pretty frequently across any types of campaigns. And additionally, since you know the bid for your call-only campaign, you can set your bid to set the value that you want. Right. So they do conflict, but like Chris said,
typically if you're going to run a call-only campaign, that's your preferred ad to show up on mobile. Mm-hmm. So you may want to have that a little higher, so that you make sure that conflict goes in your favor for the call-only part. Yeah, and you can measure this stuff, monitor what's going on, and just make sure that what's happening is what you want to happen, because there are tangible steps to take, updating your bids. If you need to, you can reduce that bid modifier a little bit more, whatever works for you. But there are ways to handle it. All right, from AdScribe is need to know about the CPA campaign. So CPA campaign will work the same way. As long as you're tracking calls and conversion, you have a conversion event set up. As long as you're tracking it that way, you're able to use CPA campaigns in the same respect. Yeah,
the key there is just tracking conversions. As long as you have them, the system can bid to them. Everything's gravy from there on out. I'm sorry, I keep talking about food, guys. It's so early in the morning. What am I doing here? Are website call conversions not available for call only? Are they only for call extensions?
Yes. So it's a call extension product. Website call conversions is the product where people will click on your ad and then go to your website and then have that escape hatch. And so you want that available to them. Call only ads don't have the ability to go to the website, so therefore they're not necessarily needed.
Yeah, but what's good here is that everything interacts. It's all going to be in the same account for you. People have different account structures, but assuming, like most cases, it's going to be within the same account. And so website call conversion, you set up the account level. Right. And so on your desktop campaigns, you can still have people track website call conversions. Even if they call you, they don't convert over the phone, but eventually they know your name, they come back to your site via desktop ad, you're still able to track that conversion. So it's just, the stuff's happening. It's just, you want to be able to measure it so that you can change your strategy accordingly. All right, the next question is from Jay Miners, and I apologize if I mispronounce anything. I'm doing my best here. In my call-only campaign, it says that I have 18 clicks, but it only has 15 conversions. I checked my call details to see if the other 3 calls were either missed or shorter than my conversion time, but only 15 calls show. Where are the other 3 clicks?
So that's a very specific question that we would probably want to look at the details. It's likely that it's a short call. Or somebody clicked, had the dialer, and then did not make that call or made that call very short. It depends on what's going on with your conversion event, conversion windows. There's a lot of specifics in there, but I think it's likely a short call.
Yeah, and just another note, again, we don't know the specifics of this account, but one thing to think about, if your conversion rate is at or close to 100%, it might not be the best way to track conversions, because if every phone call to you think is a conversion, maybe you should just go one level deeper, because a 100% conversion rate generally means that something is off in the way that you're thinking about conversions. You know, again, I don't know the specifics, but maybe there's a longer time frame. Maybe instead of just talking for 30 seconds to a person, maybe that isn't as valuable. So just think about measuring a bit more, you know, being a bit more stringent with how you define a conversion. That could be another helpful step as well.
Good.
All right, the next one is from Joe L. I'd like to know if call-only ads can show on desktops or tablets, any device that doesn't support calling, as I see impressions when I segment by device. Any info on this would be great. Do you know why they might see that type of irregularity in the reporting?
I don't know why that irregularity would be there. I think these are not eligible to show. I mean, it's entirely possible that there's, so it depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at the ads or you're looking at the campaign, there's a couple different levels here. They're not eligible to show on those devices at this point. So it's a mobile specific format. It runs on mobile. If it's in a different campaign, or if it's in, you know, you have other text ads in that call only campaign, that may be contributing towards that.
Okay. Are there any tablets that are phone capable that might be able to see something?
That I know of.
Okay. I'm just thinking of possible ideas here.
It's possible, but not that I know of.
Okay.
I mean, there's the phablets, but they make phone calls.
Yeah, those are still considered mobile.
Yeah. I mean, while we're talking about this, we should, you know, we had thought of a question before, was what's the optimal setup for these, or is a call only ad eligible to show in a regular campaign or not? The optimal setup is to have your own specific campaign type for call only, and only have call only ads in there. You know, if you have text ads in there, it will conflict and it'll make it, you know, make it a little difficult. If you put a call only, you can put a call only ad in another campaign, in a standard campaign, but it's not, that's not preferred as well, because then you're sort of working with situations where you have a specific ad with other types. So then what's going to happen is it's going to serve on certain devices, and the other ones are going to complain in there, and then the other ones are going to perform better and pull it back in. So the optimal setup is to make sure that you have it in a specific campaign with only call only ads in it.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, that's why it was created, to kind of create those lines of demarcation for reporting, for budgeting, for everything else. So it totally makes sense. All right, so this one is from Thanos. I don't know much about call-only campaigns, so I would like to know if I can use negative keywords.
Yeah, I mean, call-only campaigns will work just like any other AdWords campaign type and any other keywords. So you can do almost all the same things there, specifically with keywords. So if you can do negative keywords, you can do negative keywords. There's no issues on that one at all.
Yeah, excellent. It's great to hear, you know, targeting is the same, and then it's just really just your ad text you're going to think about differently, but even that setup is pretty similar. Like the ads that are...
Yeah, it's built on the same framework, so.
So a lot of it will be very familiar with you once you get started. So good luck, Thanos. Hopefully you're enticed to take the plunge today after our exciting discussion of breadsticks and escape hatches. All right, the next one. Hi, I'm sitting in India. I have recently started a call-only campaign, but I was not able to find any conversion method. Please help me with how to set up conversion in call-only campaign.
So what you're looking at when you're creating that ad, you're going to have your ad text is going to be here. When you're typing in your ad text, and underneath there'll be a little drop down that says Google forwarding numbers or calls and conversions. When you check that, you'll have a drop down that shows all the conversion events that you have in the account. If you don't have any conversion events in there, you can use it and you can drop over and you can create those, or you can use the one that's the standard there. But I would make sure that you're setting up a conversion event that works for you, and it is in that drop down down there.
Yeah, just look for the conversion, set one of those bad boys up. What is the best bid strategy to have when setting up call-only campaigns?
Good question.
It's a big question.
It is.
What is the best bid strategy? That could be its own HOA. That could be a series of HOAs.
It could be. You know, I would bid. So, you know, start at a certain level. Get those ads to show. Get them to build up and get them to run. So start getting them up there, getting some play. Once you start to see the value coming in on the call side, you know, how many calls I'm getting in, how many I'm turning in conversions, what that value is to me, then go ahead and ratchet that piece of information in and create the bids that work for you. You can make it higher, you can make it lower. You know, there's bid strategies where you can call it CPA, CPC, right? You can do all those kind of things. It really depends on what you want to do as a business. You know, it is a larger topic, but I prefer to keep it simple, figuring out what's going on with the call center, with the value, and then using that to contribute towards the bids.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I think if you're looking to save time, automated bidding is great. Like target CPA, as long as you know you're tracking the right conversions, if those are those conversions that make sense for you, everything's good on your conversion pixel, target CPA is going to optimize all your bidding to get more of those things that you track as conversions. So that's a good time saver if you want to use that. All right, which industry do you think can have best results with call-only campaigns as per results you've already seen?
So I sort of alluded to, it's more, the bigger ticket items, or not necessarily bigger tickets item, the items that require a lot of questions of users, right? Those are very easy to convert over to calls. So if you're in telecom or you're in insurance, things like that, those are pieces of information that people know, and you can talk them through on the phone. That is a very helpful, calls is very helpful to them, and to make sure that you're getting a good conversion rate. So those are very successful. We see a lot. We see some great success in travel. We see some pretty good results in local. B2B is pretty good as well. So these are the bigger categories. Finance overall is also an excellent category that we see. Yeah,
and it seems like if you take phone calls, I think it's worth giving a shot. Like it works for a lot of different industries, and even within those industries, it's going to work differently for different people.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a call center and you want to get sales from that call center, get some calls, right? You don't have to do it with call-only campaigns to start off with. You can start out with call extensions. So you're still getting traffic to your website, and you're still doing it the way that you want to, but get some calls. And then look at the value that's going on there. If those numbers are like very agreeable to you, then consider call-only campaigns, or consider keeping call extensions on.
Yeah, that's great. It's AdWords, so you can test everything. Love it. All right, last question, it looks like, from the community is from Justin White. And how is quality score determined? Always a hot topic.
It's always a hot topic. So we use a lot of different factors on quality score to determine what's going on here and to figure out how it is. It is no different for call-only campaigns. It's no different than it's been. So we're using a lot of different values. We're able to find out what's going on, conversion rates, or not conversion rates, but like call-through rates and things like that. And that's what we're using.
Yeah, and there's always different formats, and those different formats compete against one another. So the system is incredibly good at normalizing across all of those. So it's the same things you should be thinking about, like Chris was saying. All right, we just got one from Patty, just under the wire. This might be one of our last few, so I guess last call. Whoa, last call on call-only ads. Buzzing. What is the benefit to running a call-only campaign versus using tracking phone numbers in the landing page and call extension?
Using tracking phone numbers on the landing page. Oh, okay. It really depends on what you want to do, right? So if you have a mobile site that does what you want to, then maybe call only is not the right option. But if it does not, if you can't allow users to do whatever they want to, then consider a call only campaign, because that'll allow them to do what you want, buy something or whatever. Tracking number on the desktop, like that, that's good, right? It's very good to have, particularly on desktop versus mobile. So we're splitting desktop versus mobile there. But you should give people the option to make a phone call. I don't see those as two separate things. I see them as sort of complementary.
Okay, makes total sense. All right, we just got one from David. Do you foresee going to a desktop solution for calls?
I don't foresee that right now. We design the product for devices that make phone calls. Desktops don't necessarily make phone calls. So it's not designed in that way.
Yeah, and so that's a case where if you really want phone calls from desktop, then optimize your site for it. Yeah. There's a lot of things you can do on your website to make that phone number more prominent and make it more enticing for people to call. So that's another way to go about it.
Exactly.
All right. I think that is everything. We're going to call it a day. We got all the questions from the community answered. Thank you guys so much for the lively questions. I enjoyed answering them. I learned some stuff from Chris today. So thank you, Chris, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, the internet, for tuning in to this Hangout on Air. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. If you have questions that come up later, you can leave them in the comments. We'll make sure that we get to them, try to get an answer for you. But thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day.